Welcome to the Sky News Mercury People's Forum, live from the Hobart Town Hall. Ladies and gentlemen in the room, please put your hands together for the Premier and Opposition Leader. So, thanks everyone. We've had our coin toss. Rebecca White is going to speak first with the opening statement. Thank you.
Thanks, Kieran. Hello, everybody. This election's about two things. Who's got the right plan to take action on the cost of living, and also who's got the best plan to set Tasmania up for a better future. That's a bit of feedback there. I'll just move. Tasmanian Labor government will make sure Tasmanians pay a Tasmanian price for our power. It'll be about putting Tasmanians first and the mainland second. This will save the average household $400 every year off their power bill. We'd also make sure that Tasmanians could once again own their own home, with that dream so far away for so many Tasmanians. Our game changer policy is about providing hope for people to own their own home again. Zero deposit, zero barriers, because if you can afford to pay your rent, you can afford to pay your mortgage. And supporting our health workers, making sure we can repair our health system, free degrees for health workers, making 500 health workers permanent, and building a new elective surgery centre in Newtown. After 10 years of a Liberal government, it's time for change, it's time for a better future, and I ask you to vote 1 to 7 Labor.
Rebecca White, thank you. Premier, thank you.
Thanks, Kieran, and thank you, Rebecca. Look, this election is about two things. It's about who has the plan to deliver the things that matter: cost of living, health and housing. It's also about, the second thing, about certainty and stability, and who is better able to deliver that certainty and stability. We've come a long way over the course of the last 10 years, from economic laggard to economic leader. But there's still more to do, and that's what our 2030 strong plan for Tasmania's future is all about. But there's also a lot to risk. We remember the dark days of the Labor Green minority government, where Tasmania went into recession, where 10,000 people lost their jobs, where a nurse a day was sacked for 9 months, and Tasmanians and young Tasmanians fled the state. We cannot afford to go backwards. We risk Tasmania going backwards if you vote Labor, Lambie, Greens or Independent. I reckon the best thing to do on Saturday is to vote Liberal.
Mr Rockcliffe, thanks so much. We've got our first question, and it's from Tony. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Tony Harrison. My question's to both the leaders, and it's based on my belief in democracy. The polls show that the major parties, Labor and Liberal, are probably going to get between 33-37% of the vote. I think I'm correct in saying that you've both said that you're prepared to govern in minority, but you won't do deals. Now, does that mean you won't take policies from the minor parties or other independents, that you're only going to implement your policies? I think if other people are elected, surely the other 60-odd% of the Tasmanian population are entitled to have their views considered.
Tony, thanks so much. Rebecca White.
Oh, thanks, Tony. I've been really clear, and I think it's important that people know that if they're voting Labor, they can have confidence, if we're elected, that we deliver our plan, which is to take urgent action on the cost of living. It is to repair our health system. It is to build more houses. I'm asking for your endorsement so we can form majority government, because that gives us the best ability to do that. But I also respect that we live in a democracy, and I'll respect the vote that happens on Saturday. If that returns a situation where we can form government in minority, I've also been clear that we won't do deals with minor parties, we won't do deals with the Greens. I've been very clear that we'll work collaboratively across the Parliament, but we won't be trading away policies and we won't be trading away cabinet positions, because a vote for Labor is a vote for our plan for this state.
Jeremy Rockcliffe.
Well, firstly, thank you, Tony, very much for the question. And you mentioned polls, and the Liberal Party, by all the polls, are in striking distance of winning majority government. And so that's what I've been working so hard over the course of the last 5 weeks, and indeed over the course of the next 3 days, to deliver that certainty and stability that Tasmania needs and that majority government. I've been very clear from day one. I will not be doing a deal with the Greens. I will not be trading any of our policies of our 2030 strong plan for Tasmania's future. And I will not, absolutely, be doing deals with the Greens, or indeed around trading ministries as well. Tasmania deserves that certainty and stability, and we will not compromise, and we've never done a deal in the past, We won't in the future, and what Tasmania needs and deserves is that certainty and stability, and the Liberal Party is within striking distance, according to the polls, of achieving just that.
Our next question is from Evan. Thanks, Evan.
Thanks very much. Rebecca, this question's for you. You said that you were aspiring to produce or promising to give a $400 reduction in electricity to Tasmanians. Is that going to be in addition to the $275 that the Prime Minister promised before when he was in your position?
Thanks. And I'm really happy to talk about electricity prices, because there's no doubt that Tasmanians are hurting with the cost of living, and it'll be my priority as government, as a Premier in government, to take urgent action to relieve some of those pressures. We've been clear that Tasmanians should pay a Tasmanian price for power. At the moment, we're paying a mainland price, and yet for 100 years we've invested in hydro. From the 1st of July under a Labor government, Tasmanians would see a saving of $400 off their energy bills, and we could do that because we reversed the increases of 22.5% over the last 2 years, and then we'd put a cap on it of any further increases being at 2.5%. What I also announced today is that we would bring forward the energy bill relief that the federal and the state governments have committed to provide to concession card holders in Tasmania, because that relief is being provided to every concession card holder in every other state this financial year except Tasmania. So that would provide additional support to Tasmanians this financial year under a Labor government, unlike the Liberals who want Tasmanians to wait another year before they start to feel some of that relief.